Hello all and welcome to this AWS tutorial. In our tutorial today, we will discuss about Amazon's file system FSx Lustre and see how we can connect to it using EC2 Linux. Before we continue further ahead, a couple of things to keep in mind. Services used in this tutorial can incur significant charges. Hence, remember to clean up all resources after this tutorial is complete. Let us now review the steps for this tutorial and demo. First, we will launch two Amazon Linux 2 AMI EC2 instances in our default VPC with public IP enabled. You can definitely leverage the free tier instances for this tutorial. We will name these instances as EC2 Blue and EC2 Green. Now, these are the names that I will provide to my EC2 instances. You can provide any names that you like. After launching our EC2 instances, we will create a security group in our default VPC for our FSx file system. In this particular security group, we will create two inbound custom TCP protocol rules. In the first rule, we will open port 988 and provide access to our EC2 security group. This is to ensure that our EC2 instances can communicate with FSx file system. In the second rule, we will open port 988 and provide access to the very same security group that we are creating. This is to ensure that Amazon FSx is able to communicate with its file system servers. Now, these two rules are absolutely critical. Okay, if you face any issues or you face any errors, ensure that you go back and revisit your security group and ensure that both EC2 SG and the SG that you have created for your FSx file system can communicate over port 988. After creating the security group, we will create an Amazon FSx Lustre File System in our default VPC. After launching the file system, we will connect to both our EC2 Linux instances via SSH on port 22. After we connect to our EC2 instances on port 22, we will install Lustre client on both these instances. The command to install the Lustre client is right here. After installing the Lustre client, we will mount the FSx file system on both these EC2 instances using the below command, the one which I'm highlighting right now. After we are able to connect to the FSx file system, we will create a file using either one of the two EC2 instances. So in my case, I will be leveraging EC2 Blue to connect to FSx and create a file. And the file that we create on FSx using EC2 Blue, we will verify that this file exists on FSx file system using EC2 Green. And finally, we will unmount FSx from both the EC2 instances. Now, you could either use sudo umount or unmount basically FSx. Sometimes this particular command gives an error. If you get an error like target system is busy or something like that, then just add -L or -L in between, and you should be able to unmount the file system easily. Now let us switch to our AWS console and go ahead with our first step, that is to create the two Linux 2 AMI instances in our default VPC. So EC2 is right here. Click on Launch Instance. Free tier. This is Amazon Linux 2 AMI. So click on Select. We will leverage the free tier T2 Micro. Click on Next. And over here, we will change the number of instances to 2. In our default VPC, we have public IP enabled. Click on next. We are good with the storage. Click on next. Click on next, and let us configure our EC2 group. So I don't have any security group for my EC2, so I'm going to create a new security group, EC2SG. EC2SG, ensure that you open port 22, review and launch, and I think everything looks good over here. So click on launch. This is my AWS key pair. I'll click on the acknowledgement and click on launch instances. So as you see, our instances are being launched currently. So let's go and review them. So these are the 2 instances that have been launched for us. So let's go ahead and rename them as EC2-blue and EC2-green. Now these are the names that I have given to my EC2 instances. Okay, so let's continue with our next steps. The next step for us is to create a security group in a default VPC for FSx. So scroll further down and go to security groups. Click on create security group. We'll give the name over here as FSx SG. And first we will add an inbound rule, a custom TCP protocol inbound rule. This is custom TCP rule. Protocol is TCP, port should be 988, and we will give access to our EC2 SG. So that is, I believe, this one. This is my EC2 SG. Select that and click on create. Now select this particular FSx SG rule security group that we have created and click on edit inbound rules, add another rule, and it is going to be again custom TCP rule. Port is going to be 988. And remember that we have to open this particular port to this very same security group. That means it's going to be SG, and then it will be not this one, but I believe it is this is the group that we just created, FSx SG, the very same security group. So select this security group and click on save. So this is our security group with our inbound rules right here. So as you see, we have 2 inbound rules. One is for the very same security group, FSx SG, and the other one is for EC2. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and create an Amazon FSx Lustre File System in our default VPC. So go to services, go to FSx, click on create file system. And what we will select over here is Amazon FSx for Lustre. So select this, scroll further down, click on next. And we will give a name to our file system. So I'm going to say shared FSx. Now we need to provide the default storage capacity. Now, as you see, the supported sizes are 1200 gigabytes, 2400, and 3600. So 1200 is the minimum. So let us go ahead and give 1200. So that's our size. And then we have to ensure that this is launched in a default VPC. This is my subnet. And I am going to give the security group that I created. That is FSx XG. This is a security group. Everything over here is optional, so that is good. Click on next. These are our parameters, so which is good. And then finally, go ahead and click on create file system. So as you see, our file system is currently in progress, has been created. It will take a few minutes for this file system to launch and be available to us. So let's refresh, and hopefully it is going to be available to us shortly. Okay, so what's the next thing for us? We need to connect to both our Linux EC2 instances, and we will connect to them using port 22. So let us SSH into both of them. And this is my putty right here. So let's go back to our EC2. And we need to copy the IP address of our EC2 blue. So this is EC2 blue right here. And this is the public IP address of EC2 blue. Okay, so let us go ahead and copy this IP address right here. Go to appearance. I'm going to increase the font so that you can see easily. Click on OK. And I'll go and change the background color of this particular instance to blue. So this is blue right here, or we can check this blue. Add to custom colors. Okay, and I'm going to change the foreground to white. Add to custom colors. Okay, so this is our blue EC2 instance. And let us go to authentication. Select your private key file. Private key is right here. And click on open. So this is our EC2 blue. So let us connect to it. So EC2-user. And we are connected to our EC2 blue. So let us switch to the root user. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to install the Lustre client on this EC2 instance. Now, this is the command to install the client. And as you see, I've also mentioned a URL over here for reference. So let me quickly switch to this particular URL. Now, the reason I mention that is depending upon the kernel version of your Linux EC2, or whether it's CentOS or Ubuntu, you might need to make certain updates. Now, this particular documentation talks about that, like installing the Lustre client. Now, if you see, if you're using the standard Amazon Linux, it basically talks over here that, hey, if the command says that the kernel is any version that is higher than 4.14, then you don't need to install the update and reboot your EC2 instance. You can directly go ahead with the installation. Okay, similarly, if you scroll further down, since we are using Amazon Linux 2, is the same thing over here. Okay, so let us go ahead and check what is our kernel version, right? So I'm going to copy this right here. So as you see, the kernel version over here is 4.14.38, which is actually a higher version than 4.14.14, this version. So in my case, I don't need to update the kernel or reboot the EC2 instance. I can directly go ahead and download and install the Lustre client. But if your version is lower than 4.14.104, then please ensure that you update the kernel and reboot your EC2 instance. The command to update the kernel and reboot your EC2 instance is right here. As you see, this is the command. Okay. But in my case, I don't need to do this. So I will go ahead with the installation of the Lustre client directly. So this is the command. So let's go ahead and copy this command and paste it right here and hit enter. So as you see, it's installing the Lustre client for us on our EC2 Blue. So we have installed the Lustre client successfully. Now I'm not sure if the file system is available or not. So let us go ahead and launch our green EC2 instance. So click on Putty again, and we will go back and copy the IP address of our EC2 green. So this is the IP address, the public IP. Copy that and paste it right here. We'll change the appearance, increase the font. Okay, sorry, I forgot to make it bold. Click on OK and change the background color to green. So this is background, modify, and we will select green. I think I'm going to select this green, add to custom colors. Okay, and let's change the foreground to white. So add to custom colors. Okay, okay. And we have made the required changes. Let us select the authentication key file. So this is the key file right here. This is my private key, and click on open. So this is our EC2 green. So let's say EC2 user, and we are good to go. Now let us change to our root user. And the next thing that we need to do is go ahead and install our Lustre client. It's the same steps, guys. I'm not going to verify my kernel version because they are the same instances. So let's copy the command to install the Lustre client on our EC2 green instance. Right here, hit enter, and we are installing our Lustre client. So it's been installed successfully. Let us now go and check if our FSx file system is available. So click on FSx right here. And our file system is available. Select the file system. And what you need to do is click on attach. When you click on attach, that's when it shows to you the various steps of how to go about connecting or mounting this particular file system. And that is our next step, right? Our next step is to mount FSx on both of our EC2 instances. And the command to do that is right here. Okay, so sudo mount Lustre, this entire flock command over here, TCP :/FSx. And that very same command, as you see, is here as well. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a new directory, as it says over here. So we'll create this directory called as FSx, and then we will mount the file system. So let us do that on our EC2 Blue. So copy this right here and create this directory. So a directory has been created successfully. The next thing that we will do is we will mount the file system over here. So copy this. And let us go ahead and mount the file system. So hit enter. And as you see, our file system has been mounted successfully. Now we need to repeat the same set of steps on EC2 green. So let us do that. Let us go back and create the directory. Copy the command right here. And then the next thing that we need to do is mount the file system. So copy this command to mount the file system, go back to EC2 green and copy it right here. And as you see, now we have mounted our file system successfully on both our EC2 instances. The next thing that we will do is we will create a file using EC2 Blue on our FSx file system. And then we will verify whether this file exists on our FSx using EC2 green. So let us go to EC2 Blue and switch directory. So cd/FSx. Okay, there you are. And the next thing we are going to do is create a file over here. So let's say test.txt. and then hit insert and say this file was created using EC2 Blue. Okay, and let us go ahead and save this file. So :wq, and our file has been created successfully. Now let us see if we can see this file first from here itself, right? So is it there in our file system? Let us see if it's there. So I think let us change. Let us do ls minus l, and I thought I had created the file. So I should be able to see my file right here. Okay. Let me try that again. Okay. So looks like I did not save it. This file is created using EC2 Blue. Okay, let me ensure that I'm saving the file. I thought I saved the file last time. Hit enter and then say ls minus l. Okay, so file has been created this time, which is good. Okay, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but the file did not get created. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let us come over here and change the directory to cd/fsx, and let us run ls minus l, and we should be able to see the file. So let us see if we can actually see the file contents. Okay. For some reason. Okay. Okay, so now there are two files, it looks like. One is this. Oh, I gave the wrong file name, sorry. It's not text, it's test.txt. Maybe that's why I was not able to find it. Okay, so this file is available. So yeah, you could potentially make mistakes like me. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this particular file and then say this file is let's say this file is modified using EC2 green, and let's hit escape :wq, hit enter. Okay, this file has been saved successfully. If I go back and I look at ls-l, I can see the file that was created by mistake. And let us go ahead and edit the test file that we created. And as you see, this file is modified using EC2 green. So I hope that you understood how to go about creating the FSx file system, creating a file. It's a shared file system that you can leverage between different EC2 instances. Okay. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and unmount this particular file, this particular FSx file system. So let us go ahead and hit, basically over here, I'm going to say exit, and it comes out. And then the next thing that we are going to do is say sudo umount/fsx and hit enter. Now it looks like our file system has been unmounted successfully. Let us check that. So df, and as you see, we can now see if the file system is, oh, it's not there. Okay, so the file system has been unmounted successfully. Let us come back over here and hit escape, Q hyphen. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to unmount the file system from here. So exit. If you do df, you will be able to see FSx. Now let us go ahead and unmount it. So sudo umount / FSx and hit enter. Looks like it's got unmounted successfully. So hit df again. And as you see, FSx is not there anymore. So our file system has been unmounted successfully. Ensure that you clean up resources after this, guys, okay? Because you could incur significant charges. So ensure that you go back and delete your file system as well as terminate your EC2 instances. So I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Do post your comments and provide your feedback, and I will see you shortly in some other video. Take care. Bye-bye.